Greeting, folks. My name is Logendra Pannaya, and I'll be reviewing the paper by Professor Kim and colleagues called The Public Online Charter School Students' Choice, Perception, and Traits. The paper presents the notion that from the year 1997, after Florida virtual school started, there has been a constant rise in online public high school, focusing on K through 12. The study itself, in this paper, wants to investigate the interrelationship of some of the potential factors that seem to be associated with perception on online discussion. The population of the study was initially carved out at 1,500 students from the year 2009 academic year. Unfortunately, about 524 students participated, as the study for the respondent needed to respond within 2 weeks of enrollment, and out of which 459 responses were used in the analysis. The study was conducted in the form of a survey. The survey included several important ideas. The survey wanted to investigate the learning preferences of students for group work, conventional schooling experience, conventional learning materials, and perceived helpfulness on online discussion. Subject preference such as science, literature, social science, and mathematics. Experiences on online student in an online charter school program. Personal traits and self-regulation disposition such as multitasking, task planning, long-term goal setting, and so on. Now, the biggest problem was the students, the biggest discovery of the study, I should say, was that students who had problems with traditional schools also had problems in virtual school, and they also found them to have problems with online discussion. These students also identified a problem with maths, science, literature, and technology. Now, this could be the way we view knowledge, right? From what I decipher from this paper, it may not be the medium is the problem, it's the ontological view of this knowledge itself. Now, for students who have not mastered mathematics, may certainly have difficulties talking about mathematics, let alone whether it's on an online asynchronous medium. So is science and literature. They all have specific terminology, they have specific algorithm, and only these are, I would say, in many ways an elitist subject, in the sense that you need to have a substantial prerequisite to engage them meaningfully. Unlike some of the social science subject where the content knowledge itself are discrete in nature, in the sense that you could participate by virtually any time in any point in time. Unlike, however, subjects like maths and science and literature, there is substantial prerequisite, which means students who are transferring to virtual school, having difficulty in their past learning experience, will probably most likely continue having difficulty. Now, these are the same students who are likely to fail in planning long-term goals, thus hampering self-regulatory instincts. This study indicates that students who fail in traditional schools is also most likely to fail online schools. But as I said, even in Malaysia, where I work with disfranchised students, I don't perceive any way an online medium school will encourage my students to do better. My students who fail do not find school relevant to their lives. I don't think a medium can change that. However, schooling needs to be realigned, not the medium. That means we must reconsider what schooling is to these kids. The ontology of knowledge or ontology of certain subjects like maths and science need to be realigned to an environment that these students live in. So I believe that innovation should also not only come from technology, innovation should also come from the fundamental pedagogy and curriculum design. The in-depth analysis indicate that math, science, literature have good inclination for online discussion. So once again, I failed to mention that these were from the students who succeeded, and online schools tend to have this. But this is the same point that I raised along. These four subjects, math, science, literature, and particularly these three subjects, math, science, and literature, it's acquired in a constructive way. See, for example, if I want to acquire a body of maths is not intuitive by nature, right? Unless you are an exceptionally math student, it's not intuitive by nature. It needs to be acquired, and the only way to acquire is to participate in a constructive discussion. So is literature. Literature is bringing meaning to text, and it can only be formed. So people who are successful in this also tend to have successful traits that encourage people to participate in dialogues and interaction, may it be in virtual or real world. Maths students prefer working in groups and have online discussion. It was one of the major findings. Knowledge is constructed to participation and is not intuitive by nature. So it's the same point that I wanted to mention earlier. Now, a substantial number of studies stress that importance of learner interaction. So for this whole online thing to work, it's basically supported by the quality of interaction. Active discussion or interaction with facilitators, peers in the process of learning is crucial. Importantly, what they experience in the very early stage of online learning seem to affect their later perception, attitude, and satisfaction. Partly because if you get it right from the beginning, then the chances of you succeeding subsequently is good. So we shouldn't hold on to some of the experiences and support. Usually in traditional setting, people tend to intervene midway. The intervention should be right up very early before people start falling into the cracks. Active online participation is often viewed as a pivotal factor for student success. So the whole idea is to create a learning environment where people need to participate from get-go. Acquisition of knowledge should be an active engagement of learners rather than passive recipient of knowledge. Satisfaction and quality and quantity of interaction are important. Another important discovery that this paper have declared is the role of non-cognitive traits such as perseverance, motivation, self-control, and other aspects of consciousness might help predict how people actually think, perceive, act, or decide. Seem to be a good predictor of success of online learning. So this is another thing that many curriculum designers tend to overlook, the importance of non-cognitive traits. Long-term goal setting and task management. Students with higher goal setting ability may demonstrate higher self-efficacy and also self-regulatory skills, which certainly affect their performance in school. Students' ability to manage their own learning is a critical factor for success. So these are the major factors that this paper has identified and this study has provided evidence to. So I believe as a curriculum designer and a virtual learning space designer, one should not be overwhelmed with technology by itself. Ample emphasis must be paid to the psychological and the humanistic perception of learning also.